Okay, so what we have to do, because these variables are private, is we have to make it possible to set them. And that means making a public method which will allow you to set it. Okay, and for now this will just be a void method because it won't return a result. Okay, public void set top speed. I'm using camel case, which is small first letter and then big letter for each of any new words that begin. Public void set top speed. Okay, and because this is what you call a setter method, a method which sets a key class variable, then it has to take an argument. It has to take an argument, which is the int, the top speed that you want to set it to. So I'll just put int x. Okay, and this method just does one really simple thing for now, and it says top speed equals x. Let's do the same for the model. So you run the set model method. You pass it a string value for the model, string s model equals s. Now this will seem strange, but there is a good reason for it. What we are doing is we're avoiding having these variables set as public, and we want to control the way in which people are allowed to change them, if they're allowed to change them at all. So we are now saying, by having a set top speed function, we are saying that you should be allowed to set the top speed at any point during the running of the program, provided you run that method. So you can't do like car C1 dot top speed equals 50, but you can do C1 dot set top speed 50. And you'll understand a little bit more about what the benefits are to that as we go a bit further, but for now we need to have these two void functions which just allow you to do that thing so that we can actually give our cars some more information up here. Okay, so you will remember that we created C1 and C2 as new instances of the car class, and they have no names or anything. No models or top speeds. But now, because I've added these methods to the car class, C1 dot. Oh look, I've got those methods available to me now. You can see it says they're void methods, but I can do something with them. So I can do set top speed, and you can see it says that it takes an integer x. Let's say 100 C1 dot set model. What kind of car has a top speed of 100 miles an hour? That's pretty rubbish. Let's go for a, I don't know, you know those three-wheelers, like the one that Mr. Bean, if you've ever seen Mr. Bean, is always bullying in the street with his tiny little yellow mini. Okay, let's go for a three-wheeler. And then we'll do C2, set top speed. Okay, this is going to be a much better car. This is going to have a top speed of 290 miles an hour. And it's going to be a, I don't know, Porsche 911. Is that a car? Porsche 911? I think it is. Okay. Well, let's run it and check that we have no issues. Good. We still see end of program. Obviously, we can't see anything going on here. There's a couple of ways that we could get some feedback from this. Firstly, we could just have in the set top speed function, we could have like a printout, console.writeLine top speed has been set to x. But the best thing to do probably would be to allow us, after we've created our cars, set their details, to get like a summary of the object, the state of the object. And one way to do that would be to have another method, a void method, public void. Let's just call it like display car or display stats. Let's just call it display. This one doesn't need to take any arguments in the brackets, any parameters, because we're just telling whatever car it is to display. We're not saying display X, or display Y. And what we're going to do is we're going to just say something like console.writeLine. We'll use the $sign notation, which allows us to put variables directly in our string. So we'll say car, we'll just say model, a couple of braces, model, see how that works? So $sign, open speech marks, close speech marks at the end of the brackets. Inside of it, I just do like a regular string, but I can open and close braces around a variable name. So model that, let's do a new line character, so \n, and then let's do top speed. Okay, so after each of these we will display it. So we'll set top speed and model of that one, and then we'll go c1.display, and then we'll set top speed and model of c2 and go c2.display. Model 3 wheeler, top speed 100, model Porsche 911, top speed 290, end of program. Okay, so there you have, from a program which literally just had an almost empty class of car, you've now got the ability to create versions of that class for your different copies of the same type of thing. So here we've got two copies of cars with vastly different parameters, vastly different like variable values. One other tiny thing, what would have happened if I had never set, let's create a C3. Okay, this might cause a problem, just thinking ahead to what, where there might be errors in our program. What if we just do c3.display? Right, if you're thinking along the same lines as I am, then you might think, well, what does the display function do? I keep calling it a function. Sorry, it's not a function because it's a void. It doesn't return anything. It's just a subroutine. It's just a method. Okay, what does the display method do? Well, it prints model and then the value of the model variable, but I haven't done set model or set top speed, so those things are literally, they're sort of declared here at the start of the class, private int top speed, private string model, but they haven't been given a value yet. I don't know what's going to happen when I try to print that. Is it just going to print null? Is it going to print nothing? Will it be given a default value? Let's see. Okay, so it's being nice to us. In another language, it could be like, you can't do that. You're not allowed to print null or nothing. Here, it's just giving us what we might expect, which is nothing for model, and 0 for top speed, which is fine. I mean, I'd almost rather it didn't set it to 0 by default. So one thing that you can do is you can say, when the class car is defined, if you have not yet run set top speed or set model, have some default values that you control. Okay, because, for example, top speed 0, it's possible that a car could have a top speed of 0. Like if a car was in a game and for a while the car was like broken down or something, then maybe its top speed would be set to 0 to stop it from going anywhere. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to say that the top speed of any car which has not yet really been set is -1. -1 is good to show that an integer has not been declared yet. A top speed of a car would normally be a positive number. So if it's -1, we're clearly dealing with like an error situation. So it hasn't been set yet. You can't use this car yet. And model, let's call it unnamed or something like that. What that means now is that C3 will receive those values and they won't have been changed, so we should see model unnamed top speed -1 there, but these ones which have had the set top speed and set model functions run, methods run, will have those same values. Okay. I kind of prefer that. I think it's good to control your variables. So if you're creating a variable which will be set later, it's I think it's a good idea personally to give it a value that you control to begin with, like a default. Some people would just leave it empty, but then they might experience bugs which you might not experience if you decide to do it this way.